Every 4 years, a simple game of football becomes a high-stakes stand-in for national identity and cultural pride. The tournament is an emotional amplifier, a place where the pressure of global expectations can produce either a collective breakdown or a moment of individual grace. Italy's history with the World Cup contains both of these outcomes, a role in the most violent match ever played and its most celebrated upset. These two matches, separated by 20 years, show how the sport can swing between tribal hostility and the redemptive power of a single performance. The setting for the first match was 1962 Chile, a nation still reeling from the Valdivia earthquake. In 1960, the strongest seismic event in recorded history had leveled entire neighborhoods. Organizing the World Cup became a point of survival and pride for the Chilean people. They were rebuilding their infrastructure in real time, determined to prove their resilience to a global audience. Before the games began, 2 Italian journalists published a series of articles that mocked the effort. They described Santiago as a backwater dump and its people as proudly miserable, sparking immediate outrage across the host nation. The Chilean press retaliated by labeling the Italians as fascists and drug addicts. Hostility boiled over in the streets of Santiago, where an Argentinian reporter was hospitalized simply for being mistaken for an Italian. By the time the two teams met for their Group 2 clash, the sporting context had completely vanished. The match was no longer about points, it was about national vengeance. On June 2, 1962, the match known as the Battle of Santiago began. It took only 35 seconds for the first brutal foul to occur. Authority on the pitch collapsed within minutes. When Italy's Giorgio Farini was sent off for a foul, he refused to leave the grass. The game was halted until Chilean military police were called onto the field to physically drag him away. The violence continued unchecked. Chilean star Lionel Sanchez broke an Italian player's nose with a left hook in a scuffle. But since the referee was distracted by the police intervention, the assault went unpunished. Referee Ken Aston struggled to communicate with players through the shouting and chaos. With no visual way to track discipline, blatant punching and spitting became the dominant features of the game. Chile eventually won 2-0, but the result is remembered as a low point for the sport. It remains a case study in how nationalistic friction can turn an international game into a brawl. 20 years later, in 1982, the Italian team faced a different kind of pressure. This time, the friction wasn't in the stands, but in the reputation of a single man. Paolo Rossi entered the 1982 World Cup as a pariah. He had just finished a 2-year ban following a domestic match-fixing scandal and had failed to score a single goal in the opening group matches. The Italian press called him a shadow of his former self. To stay in the tournament, Rossi's struggling team had to beat the most intimidating opponent on earth, the 1982 Brazilian squad. This was a team of artists. Led by Zico and Socrates, their offensive fluidity was so dominant that they are still regarded as the greatest collection of talent to ever miss out on a trophy. Most observers saw the match as a foregone conclusion, a meeting between an unstoppable force and a fractured, disgraced Italian defense. In the 5th minute, the narrative shifted. Rossi struck early to put Italy in the lead, scoring his first goal of the tournament and shocking the Brazilian defense. Italy exploited a specific tactical flaw. Brazil's defensive line pushed so far forward, they left large, open spaces behind them. When Brazil attempted a casual horizontal pass, Rossi pounced. He intercepted the ball and exploited the empty space to score a second goal. Brazil equalized twice, but Rossi was clinical. In the 74th minute, he completed his hat trick, eliminating the favorites and silencing those who had called for his removal from the team. For the Brazilian players and their fans, the loss was a national tragedy. A team that seemed invincible had been dismantled by the very man the world had written off. Rossi's performance is now the benchmark for World Cup redemption. It proved that a disciplined underdog, fueled by intense personal pressure, could topple a team of pure artists. These matches left behind a legacy that moved beyond the Italian team. The systemic fallout from the 1962 brawl led to a total overhaul of the game's rules. Ken Aston, the referee from that violent day in Santiago, was haunted by the language barriers that allowed the game to spiral. He realized that the sport needed a universal visual shorthand for discipline. Based on his observations, he developed the concept of red and yellow cards. The most violent match in World Cup history gave rise to the discipline system used in every professional game today, ensuring that the chaos of 1962 could never be repeated without consequence. The legacy of 1982 was different. Paolo Rossi's hat-trick transformed him from a national disappointment into a sporting hero, restoring the pride of a country that had felt disgraced by scandal. Italy went on to win the 1982 World Cup, turning Rossi's individual redemption into a centerpiece of national folklore. The tournament is built on these contradictions, a stage where national rivalries spark violence, yet one player's resilience provides a moment of collective catharsis. Final, resonant tone. We continue to watch because the World Cup is an amplifier of the human condition, capable of exposing our capacity for aggression while providing the space for our most miraculous recoveries.